It was a story that I found incredibly fascinating that, when I read Anthony's book, I just found everything about the story tremendous. Often you hear about people and people tell you how wonderful they are, and then you meet them and it's not everything they're cracked up to be. And Anthony was everything that everybody said and more. And, I like the idea of a sports story. I love sports movies, but I felt like the story of Anthony and his mom was a unique telling of that. I felt like their relationship was such an incredible one, her being so young when she had him and them raising each other to overcome all these incredible obstacles. A lot of the movies I've done as an editor are a little more darker themed, and this was something that I felt like would be inspiring to people. It just spoke to me in a way that I had to tell the story.
Hi, William. How's it going?
It's going well. How are you?
I'm doing so well. I just want to say thank you right out of the gate for sharing your time with me today. You've edited some of my absolute favorite films of all time, so it's lovely to sit here with you and be able to chat about one that you get to direct, which is incredible.
Thank you. It's I was lucky enough to be able to tell this story, and because it was one that I was incredibly passionate about. So I'm happy to be here talking to you about it.
I just love to know right out of the gate, with this being your directorial debut, what was it about this story of Unstoppable that you're like, this is the one that I want to, kick off my directing leg of my career with?
Well, it was a story that I found incredibly fascinating that, when I read Anthony's book, I just found everything about the story tremendous. And then I met Anthony in Arizona where, he lives. And when I met him, it sort of sealed the deal for me. I've never really met anybody who's that charismatic, who's that good of a person, who's, often you hear about people and people tell you how wonderful they are, and then you meet them and it's not everything they're cracked up to be. And Anthony was everything that everybody said and more. And I also, I like the idea of a sports story. I've loved sports movies, but I felt like the story of Anthony and his mom was a unique telling of that. I felt like their relationship was such an incredible one, her being so young when she had him and them raising each other to overcome all these incredible obstacles. Something about it just struck a nerve with me, and I like the idea of telling a story with a positive message. That was very important to me. A lot of the movies I've done as an editor are a little more darker themed, and this was something that I felt like would be inspiring to people. So I just, it just spoke to me in a way that I had to tell the story.
Yeah, and I love that you mentioned that, because I think the story of Anthony alone is incredible, but when you add this layer of the family, those moments were also just as engaging when you're watching it. So it truly is like just beginning to end such a wonderful film. And I just love to know with you too, you're re-teaming with Ben Affleck on this. You have a long history of working together, and with Matt Damon this time around under the Artist Equity banner. What was it like working with them, getting this film to the finish line?
They were incredible. First of all, it was very important to me that I work with producers who had my back, who I could trust. And not only that, but they are incredible storytellers themselves, obviously, you look at their body of work. And, Ben I've worked with for 18 years. Matt I've gotten to know since Air. I knew him a little bit before, but I've gotten to know him well since Air. And they were just incredible to me. They treated me with incredible respect, and they were really supportive whenever I needed anything. They would make it happen. They gave me great notes on the script. They gave me great notes on the dailies. They gave me great notes when I showed them the film, because they have such a command of storytelling that they saw things sometimes I didn't see and made the film so much better. I can't say enough about them. If I spent the rest of my career working with the two of them, I'd be a very happy man.
That's amazing. I was watching a video of you actually on the Artist Equity page, and you were talking about, obviously you've gone to work with so many incredible directors throughout your career, and you spoke about stealing from them. I just love to know, what's the best technique that you've stolen from working with directors in your career that you brought to Unstoppable?
Let's call it inspired by, and not stolen.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Well, I thought it would be a really great way to tell this story, to sort of put the audience in the room or with the characters or on the mat with the characters. And so I would say I borrowed were inspired by sort of Paul Greengrass's style, Catherine Bigelow's style, Michael Mann's style in The Insider, and Ben's style in the Iranian sections of Argo. I mean, just whereas you feel like you're glimpsing real life, or hopefully you feel like you're glimpsing real life, and I think having a very alive camera that is a little more unpredictable in style gives you that feeling. And so the whole film was shot handheld, and I gave the actors a lot of freedom with the dialogue. I love the screenplay, but I felt like if there's a way you want to say this line that makes it feel more you, more real, or more of the character, then go ahead and do it. So consequently, a lot of takes were different than other takes, so it was always felt very fresh. And there were even times where Jennifer would surprise Jarrell with a little nugget of a story that Judy had shared with her, but no one else. And Judy gave her permission to put it in the film. So sometimes she would say things that Jarrell didn't know was coming, so we got a genuine reaction out of him, and he's so gifted. He does it well, even if he knows. But, I just felt like, again, putting people on the mat, putting people in the room would make you feel the experience along with Anthony.
Yeah, definitely. And, William, I'm so grateful for your time today. Just really quickly before we wrap up, Heat is one of our absolute favorite movies here on our show. And you played a huge role in that. I'd just love to know, just really quickly, if there was any just favorite memories of working on that film. Still the loudest guns I've ever heard in a movie, too, by the way. So that's stuck with us forever watching that movie.
Well, just so you know, those gunshots are the real gunshots from the set. They're not extra gunshots that were added in. It's the real recordings from the set, in which they were extraordinary, the way they banged off all the buildings. I mean, my memory, it was my third movie. I was lucky, very lucky to get that film. I was so overwhelmed. And when I sat down to cut the first couple of scenes, and it was Robert De Niro and Al Pacino and John Voight and Val Kilmer, I was almost frozen with fear. I found myself hyperventilating a little bit on the first day. And it took me a minute to get relaxed enough to cut, but I had shown Michael a couple of scenes. He gave me a few notes, Michael Mann, a few scenes, and then he came back in and watched a whole long section of what I cut, and I was very nervous. And at the end of watching about 10 minutes of the movie, he banged his hand on the table and said, "That's exactly what I wanted," and he got up and left the room. And that made my life to that point, actually, because it was such a big step for me, a big break for me, and it changed my life, changed my career after I did that movie. So, like I said, it was my third or fourth credit, and to have that credit, it just catapulted my career. So I remember it, every moment of it, fondly.
That's amazing. William, again, thank you so much again. Congratulations on this film. It truly is beautiful, and I'm so excited for more people to watch it. I'm grateful for your time. Hope we could talk again down the road.
Thank you. Great talking to you.